when security guards forcibly removed a black woman from her own mansion, claiming she didn't belong. Her bold response in the moments that followed left everyone in disbelief. It was a crisp autumn morning in Beverly Hills when Nia Thompson, a 38-year-old tech entrepreneur, found herself standing on the manicured lawn of her $6 million mansion, surrounded by security guards who refused to believe she was the owner. Nia, a single mother and founder of a successful AI startup, had built her fortune from scratch, rising from a modest upbringing in Oakland to become one of the most respected black women in Silicon Valley. Her mansion, a sleek modern estate with floor-to-ceiling windows and a gated driveway, was a testament to her hard work. But that morning, her wealth and status couldn't shield her from the humiliation of being treated like an intruder in her own home. The trouble began when Nia returned from a business trip to New York. She'd been away for a week, finalizing a deal to sell her company's AI software to a major corporation for $50 million. Her 12-year-old daughter, Zoe, was staying with Nia's sister in Oakland, and the house had been empty. Nia pulled into her driveway at 9 a.m., jet-lagged but relieved to be home. She noticed a security van parked nearby, which wasn't unusual in her gated community, where private patrols were common. She unlocked her front door with her key fob and stepped inside, expecting to collapse on her couch. Within minutes, 2 security guards, both white men in their 40s, entered her foyer without knocking. "Ma'am, you need to leave," one of them, Officer Daniels, said sternly. "This is private property." Nia, dressed in a tailored blazer and jeans, stared at them, confused. "This is my house," she said, her voice calm but firm. "I live here." The second guard, Officer Reed, smirked. "We got a call about a break-in. You don't look like you belong here." Nia's stomach tightened. She'd heard stories of black homeowners being mistaken for intruders, but she never imagined it would happen to her. She pulled out her ID and the key fob, holding them up. "This is my driver's license and this is my key. I own this house." The guards exchanged glances, unconvinced. Daniels radioed his supervisor, reporting a suspicious person who claimed to be the homeowner. Nia overheard the supervisor's response: "Get her out and verify later." Before she could protest, the guards grabbed her arms, one on each side, and escorted her out the front door. Nia didn't resist. She knew better than to escalate, but her mind raced. She asked to speak to their supervisor, but they ignored her, locking the door behind them. Standing on her own lawn, Nia felt the eyes of neighbors peeking from behind curtains. A small crowd had gathered, a delivery driver, a jogger, and a few residents, watching the scene unfold. One neighbor, Mrs. Larson, a retiree who'd always been friendly, approached cautiously. "Nia, what's going on?" she asked. Nia explained briefly, her voice steady despite the humiliation. Mrs. Larson frowned, turning to the guards. "I know her. She lives here. This is ridiculous." The guards dismissed Mrs. Larson, saying they were following protocol. Nia, now on the phone with her lawyer, Marcus Grant, overheard Daniels mutter, "She probably works for the owner." The assumption stung, but Nia stayed composed, giving Marcus the details. He advised her to stay calm and promised to be there in 20 minutes with documentation proving her ownership. As she waited, Nia's anger grew, not just at the guards, but at the system that allowed this to happen. She'd faced skepticism her entire career, from investors who doubted her expertise to colleagues who questioned her place in boardrooms. But this was different. This was her home, her sanctuary, and she was being treated like a criminal. She thought of Zoe, who'd soon hear about this, and resolved to turn the moment into something more than a personal slight. Nia opened her phone and started a live stream on X, her 200,000 followers a mix of tech professionals, activists, and admirers of her journey. "This is Nia Thompson," she said, her voice clear as she aimed the camera at the guards and her mansion. "I'm standing outside my own home in Beverly Hills, where I was just escorted out by security who don't believe I'm the owner. I bought this house with my own money, built for my company. This is what it's like to be black in America, even when you've made it. I'm not leaving until this is resolved." The live stream exploded, with thousands tuning in within minutes. Comments flooded in. "This is outrageous." "Stay strong, Nia. Call the news." Nia kept filming, narrating as the guards stood awkwardly nearby, their radios crackling. She showed her ID, the key fob, and even pulled up a digital copy of her property deed on her phone, reading the address aloud. "This is my home," she repeated, "and I'm not going anywhere." By the time Marcus arrived, the crowd had grown, and a local news van was pulling up. Marcus, a sharp attorney with a reputation for handling civil rights cases, carried a folder with Nia's deed, mortgage documents, and utility bills. He approached the guards, demanding to speak to their supervisor. The supervisor, a man named Mr. Callahan, arrived shortly after, looking flustered. He reviewed the documents, his face reddening as he realized the mistake. "This appears to be a misunderstanding," he said. "We got a call from a neighbor reporting a possible break-in." Nia, still live streaming, asked, "Which neighbor? And why didn't you verify before dragging me out of my own house?" Callahan stammered, unable to provide a name. Marcus pressed further, pointing out that the guards had no warrant or legal basis to enter Nia's home or remove her. The crowd murmured, some recording the exchange on their phones. What Nia did next stunned everyone. Instead of quietly re-entering her home or accepting an apology, she turned to the growing crowd and announced, "This isn't just about me. This happens to Black people every day, profiled, disrespected, assumed to be less than. I'm launching a foundation, right now, to fight racial profiling and support homeowners facing discrimination. I'm putting $1 million of my own money into it, and I'm calling on others to join me." The crowd erupted in cheers. Comments on her live stream surged, with viewers pledging support and sharing their own stories of profiling. Nia continued, "I'm also filing a lawsuit against this security company and the HOA that hired them. They need to be held accountable. This stops today." She ended the stream, promising to share details about the foundation soon. Marcus worked quickly, drafting a complaint against the security company, Elite Protection Services, and the Homeowners Association for racial discrimination and unlawful entry. By that afternoon, news outlets were covering the story, with headlines like "Tech CEO kicked out of her own mansion" and "Nia Thompson fights back after racial profiling." Posts on X amplified the story, with hashtags like #NiaThompson and #NProfiling trending. Legal experts on social media speculated that Nia's case could set a precedent for holding private security firms accountable. Nia re-entered her home, but she didn't stay long. She called a press conference for the next morning, held outside her mansion. Flanked by Marcus and a few community leaders, she announced the Thompson Justice Foundation, dedicated to legal aid for victims of racial profiling and education programs for communities about their rights. She pledged her initial $1 million and had already received $500,000 in donations from supporters inspired by her live stream. "This isn't about one incident," she said. "It's about changing how we're treated, from gated communities to grocery stores." The security company issued a public apology, claiming the guards had acted on incomplete information and promising an internal review. The HOA followed suit, distancing itself from the incident but offering no concrete action. Nia's lawsuit named both, alleging negligence and discrimination. Marcus argued that the guards' failure to verify her identity and their reliance on a vague neighbor complaint constituted racial bias, especially given Nia's clear evidence of ownership. The community response was overwhelming. Neighbors like Mrs. Larson organized a petition to reform the HOA's security protocols, demanding transparency about who made the initial call. Some speculated it was a resident with a history of complaints about outsiders, though no one was named publicly. Nia's foundation gained traction, with tech leaders and celebrities pledging support. A prominent civil rights organization offered to partner with her, and a local law school invited her to speak about her experience. Zoe, when she returned home, was upset but proud. "You showed them, Mom," she said, hugging Nia tightly. Nia used the moment to teach Zoe about resilience, telling her, "Sometimes you have to stand up, even when it's scary." She also ensured Zoe's school provided counseling to help her process the public attention. The lawsuit progressed over the next few months. Discovery revealed that Elite Protection Services had a history of similar complaints, with 3 other Black homeowners in the region reporting profiling. The HOA settled early, agreeing to pay Nia $250,000 and implement mandatory bias training for all security personnel. The case against the security company went to trial, where Nia testified about the emotional toll of the incident. The jury awarded her $1.5 million in damages, a sum that made headlines and fueled discussions about accountability. Nia's foundation grew, funding legal aid for dozens of families and launching a scholarship program for Black students pursuing law or tech. She hired a team to run it, ensuring it would outlast the media frenzy. She also became a sought-after speaker, sharing her story at conferences and universities, always emphasizing systemic change over personal victory. The guards involved were disciplined but not fired, a decision Nia criticized publicly. She used her platform to advocate for stricter regulations on private security firms, gaining support from lawmakers who introduced a bill to require licensing and oversight. The neighbor who made the initial call was never publicly identified, but Nia suspected they were watching, perhaps shamed by the community's response. Nia remained in her mansion, refusing to let the incident drive her away. She hosted community meetings in her living room, inviting neighbors to discuss ways to make their neighborhood inclusive. Some resisted, but others, inspired by her leadership, joined the effort. Zoe started a blog about her mother's work, calling it Mom's Fight, which gained a small but loyal following among young activists. The story of that morning spread far beyond Beverly Hills. It was shared in boardrooms, classrooms, and living rooms, a reminder of the indignities Black people face, even at the pinnacle of success. Nia's response, turning pain into action, resonated with thousands, sparking conversations about race, privilege, and power. She didn't set out to be a hero, but by standing her ground and building something bigger, she became one, proving that a single moment of injustice could ignite a movement.